Every 11 minutes, someone in the developed world is diagnosed with a chronic inflammatory bowel disease. The cause? Doctors say it's complex: genetics, stress, immunity, diet. But what if the gut isn't attacking itself at all? What if it's defending itself from us? Before we get too deep into this topic, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This will help bring the truth about health and healing to the thousands of people who need to hear this message. Now back to the episode. IBS, ulcerative colitis, and Crohn's disease now affect tens of millions. IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome, disrupts motility and signaling between the gut and brain. Ulcerative colitis and Crohn's, however, are inflammatory bowel diseases, autoimmune-like conditions in which the intestinal wall becomes a battlefield of immune cells, cytokines, and oxidative stress. Under a microscope, we see lymphocytes, macrophages, and neutrophils infiltrating the mucosa, releasing TNF-alpha, IL-6, and reactive oxygen species. The result: ulcers, pain, bleeding, malabsorption. But behind this storm lies a deeper trigger: what we choose to eat every single day. Yes, there's a genetic component. Variations in the NOD2, ATG16L1, and IL23R genes can predispose one to Crohn's or colitis. But genes are like loaded guns. Environment pulls the trigger. Our ancestors lived in sync with microbial life: fermented foods, animal-based nutrition, minimal processing. Today, industrial diets flood the gut with omega-6 seed oils, refined carbohydrates, emulsifiers, and chemical preservatives. Molecules our enterocytes were never designed to metabolize. These compounds erode the tight junction proteins, occludin and zonulin, leading to intestinal permeability, or leaky gut. Once the barrier is breached, bacterial endotoxins such as lipopolysaccharides, LPS, enter the bloodstream, provoking systemic inflammation. Genetics set the stage, but diet writes the play. Modern medicine treats inflammatory bowel disease primarily as an autoimmune malfunction. Standard therapy involves immune-suppressing drugs: corticosteroids, azathioprine, biologics like infliximab or adalimumab. These drugs blunt the immune attack, reduce inflammation, and buy temporary relief. But what's the cost? Suppressed immunity invites infection, impairs wound healing, and often leads to dependency. Patients find themselves cycling between flare-ups and remission, the root cause never addressed. It's like turning off the smoke alarm while the fire still burns. The gut's immune reaction isn't a mistake, it's a signal, a desperate cry that something in the internal environment is wrong. Functional and naturopathic medicine ask a different question. Instead of, how do we silence the immune system? They ask, what is the immune system trying to tell us? At the center lies the intestinal epithelium, a single layer of cells responsible for nutrient absorption and defense. When nourished properly, these cells regenerate every 3 to 5 days, one of the fastest healing tissues in the human body. But that healing depends on substrate availability. Amino acids like glutamine, glycine, and butyrate, produced when the gut ferments fat and protein. When diets are dominated by processed carbs and low-quality plant oils, that biochemical regeneration falters. Emerging anecdotal and clinical reports show profound improvements when patients shift to a carnivore-style diet, focusing on meat, fish, eggs, salt, and water. How can something so simple be so powerful? Because it removes the very triggers: plant lectins, oxalates, fiber fermentation byproducts, and emulsifiers that inflame sensitive gut linings. Biochemically, this shift reduces insulin and glycation end products, stabilizes mitochondrial function, and lowers gut permeability markers like zonulin. The microbiome adapts, becoming leaner and less pathogenic. Proteolytic bacteria replace carbohydrate fermenting species, and the mucosal lining begins to repair. Within weeks, patients often report the disappearance of bloating, cramping, and urgency. Within months, mucosal imaging shows reduction in ulcerations and normalized biomarkers. When inflammatory foods are removed, tight junction proteins reseal. Goblet cells resume secreting mucin, restoring the slippery barrier that shields the gut wall. Enterocytes receive energy through beta oxidation of fatty acids instead of relying on unstable glucose metabolism. At the same time, mitochondria in the gut epithelium regain function, reducing oxidative stress. Inflammatory cytokines fall, while T-regulatory cells restore immune tolerance. The body stops fighting itself because the threat, the constant dietary insult, is gone. This isn't an argument against pharmacology. Acute flares sometimes demand it. But chronic reliance on immune suppression without addressing diet is like bailing water from a sinking ship without patching the hole. Medicine excels at crisis management. Functional medicine excels at restoration. And the true healing of the gut lies where both meet, in science guided by nature. The gut is not broken. It is adaptable, intelligent, and regenerative. When we feed it what we were designed to eat, real ancestral food, it remembers how to heal. So if you're struggling with IBS, colitis, or Crohn's, know this: your body is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally, waiting for you to stop the war and begin the repair. If you found this enlightening, share this message, because the revolution in gut health begins with awareness. Like, subscribe, and join me in exploring the science of regeneration. For more information about our clinic, please go to drvictoriamuñoz.com or see link in description below. We have helped thousands of people regain their health and vitality, and we can help you. I am Dr. Victoria Muñoz. Until next time, take care.